Okay, let's look at adding a site plan, some ground to our project. It'll kind of finalize what we're doing and tie a few things together. So we got a few settings that we need to do first. You've watched some of the other videos on working in the site tools. Um, so we're going to kind of go through some of these. So first of all, let's go into our settings and let's change contour line display to 1 foot because we're going to deal with a fairly level site that we're going to create. Okay. Um, so we'll change that to 1 foot. Earth section cut, change that to earth. And I made it like minus 12 feet. Okay. Because our basement bottom of footing is, somewhere around negative 11 feet from level one, 10 foot and some change. So I went ahead and make that minus 12 feet. And in our section views and elevation views, that's how far down it will show up. Angle display needs to be degrees from north-south, and units needs to be degree minutes seconds. And we'll go okay with that. All right, now let's go to our floor plan site. Okay, now when it shows up, your two markers will probably on top of each other. This one is the survey point for the shared coordinate system, and I just pulled it out away from the other one when I was doing a little bit of work. But we're going to rotate this because it's unusual for a house to be built, on a true north-south line. Um, so we could rotate it now. We could rotate it later as we, draw after we've drawn the site. If you're doing this at work, you're probably going to get either some survey point data that you're going to use, or you'll get a PDF copy of the survey and the topos, and you can bring that in and then trace over it. Okay. But for our points right now, let's go ahead and change this. And let's change angle to true north. I don't know. I'm going to say 23 degrees. And that's going to rotate my entire project on the site plan only. Okay. If I come back and look at my level one, my project information is still, we're looking orientation being project north. On the site plan, if you did that and yours didn't change your orientation over here to true north. Because if that stays at project north, you stay like that. Okay. So let's change that to true north. Okay, now then, we're going to draw let's put in a property line. And if you're bringing in information, you can do it by distances and bearings. Okay, if you got survey data. For our purposes, we're going to sketch it. And I'm going to come out here and start a point and kind of make just an interesting survey, like what might be a property line. Okay. And once I've got it in here, I can kind of move it around a little bit if I need to. Okay, but I like that. And so I'm going to create that. Okay, so we've got that in place. That's our property line. Now, let's, while we're here working on property lines, let's go ahead and put in our annotations for it. So we'll go tag by category. And I don't really want a leader on it. And so I go to click on the line. And if yours is not showing up, it may tell you that a property line tag is not loaded. Okay, that being the case, you want to load the tag. Let's see. And it is under, oh great, okay. It's under annotations. Um, where did it go? civil, annotation civil property line tag. That's what you want to load right there, okay? And so I'm going to cancel that and go back here, tag by category. And th these things read in the direction that you drew them, okay? So whatever direction, like I started at this point down here and drawing up. So this is, it's heading in a north direction, 20 degrees to the east, okay? Uh, this one is heading in a south direction, 87 degrees to the east. Okay, so the way they read here in Revit is based on the way that you drew the lines. If I had drawn those lines in a counterclockwise direction, this one would be reading south and east. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind if you're dealing with, you know, property lines and survey bearings and things like that. Okay, so we've got that done. Now let's add some we got our coordinate system, our true north. We got that. I'm checking my list here. Property lines. Okay, so now we're going to add some topo points. So we're going to go to topo surface, and let's start at -2 feet. Now this is based on our level 1. And I've worked through this, and I'll show you a few things that I've figured out as we've gone through it. But let's start elevation number 2 feet, and I'm wanting to zoom in on my thing without placing one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit the kind of near the front of the house here. Now I can zoom in. Okay, and you don't have to hit on the walls. You can, but I'm gonna do all across the front of the house here as 2 feet markers. Okay, and now I'm going to change to. Oh wait, I shouldn't have done that corner. That corner right there should have been 3 feet. And I'll be able to show you how to change that in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish placing some, and I'll show you how to change it. The front corners should be -3 feet. Okay. Okay, now let's change to -4 feet and do the, we're going to do around the back of the house, but I want to put in one kind of on this corner in front of that window. And I'll do my back corners, and I'll do one right here, kind of up from the window there. Okay. Now let's change to -5 feet. And looking at my notes, and we'll just put a couple of -5 feet out here because we're going to slope this thing away from the house. Now let's change to a -6, and we'll go the back corners at -6. Let's change this back to a -3 and kind of do up here on the front. Just to make it interesting. We'll go with a -2 up here along the front of the house. Okay. All right, and we'll hit check mark on that. All right. And so now let's go to our 3D view, and you can see those lines in there. The reason I went ahead and gave you these elevations back here is because I wanted to clear the window well. Now yours may not be showing up. I changed the offset on them to a 6'6". That's from top of footing. So you may need to change that. We can't go any higher than that because it will it cuts into the window area itself. Okay, now I need to edit that point that I put in right there because I put a 2 and I needed it to be a 3, I think. So to edit your topo surface, you got to be in your 3D view and you got to hover in to where it picks the surface, and then you can come up here, edit surface. And then your points show up and you can click on a point. That one's -2. I wanted it to be a -3. And so I can change that. Okay. And then it changed my whole, well, when I hit the click mark there, it'll change my whole topo thing for me. Okay. And you can add more points in here. You can change points, so let's add a -5 there, and we'll add a -6 kind of in back here in the back. Oh, I wasn't editing. I was creating a new one. Discard, yes. I have to go back to edit the surface. -6 there. And you can see how that kind of changed the topo there. Okay, so now that's looking good. You want to get your points in and then change the elevation of your window wells. Now, one of the things when we said 2 feet here in the front, that keeps our soil down below the top of the concrete, and that has to stay down below that. So we kind of want to check around, make sure all our window wells are showing up. Okay. All right, so that's looking good. Now while we're here, we can change our materials right here. So we select our topo and materials. We can change that to grass. You'll have to find it down here. And I've already added it in, so I don't know, but I don't think it was up here. I think you had to find it down here in this library and add it. So you want to add grass, okay? And it really doesn't. It just gives a color and then a texture thingy. But when you do the rendering, it shows up really nice and pretty, okay? Okay. All right. Now we have a slight problem, and I probably need to pause this video and then go to the next one. But we have dirt in our basement, so I will pause and then come back on the next one.